All right, you're now live.
Okay. And do you have a attendee ID yet? So the phone number for WebEx I have, the access code I have. Is there an attendee ID, which is the third component that you have, David?
Take a look. I think it's only giving me, yeah, it's just giving me the meeting number.
And do you have a attendee ID yet? So the phone number for WebEx I have, the access code I have. That's me. All right, if you're just joining and you see us on YouTube, we faced a number of technical difficulties with WebEx. We're hoping to get started in just a couple minutes here, giving people a chance to catch up. If you're on our email list, I sent out an email with a link to join for WebEx. You may have to download the WebEx software, or there might be a way to just open in the browser. We'll give everyone, let's see, 3 more minutes. So we'll start at 7:36 to kick off the meeting.
Hi, Daniel. So I just did some looking on the email, and it looks like there is a dial number. It's an unusual format, but that dial number, and then if you enter the meeting number after dialing that, should work.
So to separate the two, if I call, okay. So you're saying call the WebEx number, then enter the meeting number, and then enter this third number, or just this number here?
It looks like this number, the last one that I sent in the chat, it would be the equivalent for if somebody wanted to dial in via phone. And then after they've dialed this one, then they would put in the meeting number. So the 2553 number.
First?
After they've dialed the 173-243-268, then they'll be prompted, I think, to dial 2553-577-5988. That should work.
Entry 4 6 8. Enter your app.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please.
Followed by pound.
Yeah, neither one of those worked in different orders, David. Okay.
What was that? It didn't work in that order? You gave it a shot?
Yep, I dialed the WebEx number, which is the 1-650-479-3208. And then I tried access code 2553-577-5988. And then asked for the attendee ID, which I tried the 173-243-268, and that did not work.
I have a feeling actually it's because the first number you dialed was associated with the previous meeting, and because it never got started, I don't think it can access it. I think now what's happening is a new number has been created for this particular meeting, and that number is the 173-243-268. And then I think once that is dialed, then 2553-577-5988 is the way to get in.
It doesn't work. I just tried it, but in the interest,
okay.
Can we? Is there another? Does the town have a public call-in number, like a calling card, or no? If not, I suggest we just kind of move forward and get going here because it's 7:37 right now.
Yeah, I don't think we have a town one that we can use.
Yeah, we got enough people joining on email. So I'll put this out there because we're on YouTube. If you need to access this meeting today, February 7th, at 7:37 p.m., this is the West Hartford Pedestrian Bicycle Commission meeting. Please just send me an email. It's reachdanieljohnson@gmail.com. That's REACH Daniel DANIEL Johnson JOHNSON @gmail.com, and I will forward you the link to this meeting. Again, that's
You're about to
Reach
get
Daniel
spammed pretty
Johnson.
hard, Daniel.
What's that?
You're about to get spammed.
For all the spammers watching public access, so
Exactly. Yeah.
it's already on the town website, so I don't think there's much more that could happen. Knock on wood, though.
Excuse
Jay,
me, Daniel,
welcome.
but do you think they're getting YouTube? Do you think that's up? Has anyone
That's
checked?
up. YouTube's running
Okay.
live.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm in that comfort zone to say let's get going. All right. With that, welcome to February 7th, West Hartford Pedestrian Bicycle Commission meeting. We're late due to snow and ice. It took us a while to get here, but we are up and running and here safely. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll start things off with an attendance. Colin Gillespie,
Here, Colin Gillespie.
Dan Firestone, Denise Gutierrez,
I'm here.
Jill Morosky,
Here,
Ken Livingston,
Here.
Paul Hogan,
Here.
Ryan Nobrega, Sandy Fry, and Edward Pollock. All right, and I'm Daniel Johnson. So I will finish up this meeting and then introduce the new chair member, and then we'll go from there. So first, I want to close out January item of the commission minutes for the month of January. Does anyone on the commission have any questions or changes or edits to the minutes as they stand? If I'll give everyone another minute to chime in, but if there's no further questions or comments, then we'll make we'll approve the minutes as they stand. Okay, the January commission meeting minutes are approved as they stand. So thank you, Denise, for putting that together. All right, next on the agenda, old business engineering updates. There wasn't much, but there's two important things. If you haven't heard already, Matt Hart is now with CROG, and Rick Ledwith is the interim town manager. Dwayne Martin is now head of community development. So there's an open engineering spot for the town of West Hartford. So Dwayne Martin is no longer in the engineering team exclusively, and we have Greg Summer and Todd Dumais are still there, but Dwayne is now in charge of community development for West Hartford. Last engineering update, the North Main Street, there's expected to be a public information meeting in April 2022. So mid-April, public information meeting for North Main Street in April 2022. Any questions on those? That three big things. So Matt Hart is no longer with the town of West Hartford. He's with CROG. He's a great contact. We've already worked with him in the past, so it's really nice. You know, sad to see him leave, but a nice person to have at CROG. And then again, Dwayne Martin is now in community development. So in the meantime, Greg Summer is going to be a point of contact, as well as Todd Dumais. Any questions on that? Okay. Next on old business, Ken, I believe, did you have a chance to start a draft letter for the developer at 920 Farmington Avenue that we discussed to provide to the town?
I had started, but it's already been approved, so
Okay,
they approved it at their last meeting.
in the January meeting, correct?
Yeah.
That meeting, remind me again the timeline. So we had our commission meeting January 10th, right? And then that meeting for 920 Farmington Avenue, when was that date?
It was like the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Planning and zoning has already approved it.
What is the commission? So I'll let maybe I'll save that discussion of follow up for new business then, because I still, I guess the commission can decide whether or not to still follow up with a letter to the town expressing the need to connect with the Trout Brook Trail and bring that up to the main street. So we'll hold on to that for new business. All right, new business. Ed, I had everything planned for you until this WebEx dilemma, but I want to welcome newest member to the commission, actually replacing my seat on the commission, Edward Pollock. If you don't know him, he's just a phenomenal person and a great contributor to the commission, as well as Bike West Hartford, putting together a Center Streets event with other members of Bike West Hartford, being a strong advocate and a real supporter of the safety of people walking and on bicyclists, and just a person that really holds the town to its word and pushes them to perform better, and as well as for others on the group to perform better. So Ed, I'll give the floor to you to introduce yourself to those here, and welcome to the commission.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much for those really kind words. I put my name into the town, submitted my interest in joining the PBC last year, and I never heard anything. I did it again this year, and I was accepted. And I've been coming to these meetings now for so long, just as a volunteer. I can't even remember how far back it goes. I know several chairs prior to you, Daniel. I've seen an awful lot in this commission. A lot of people come and go, but I've been there for most meetings. So I just thought, as long as I'm going to the meetings, why not be able to raise my hand as a voting member? I feel very strongly about the work that this commission does. There was a discussion late last year, one of the meetings I attended. There was a suggestion that this commission doesn't really do much, and I spoke up, taking the opposite position. I think that this commission stays within its lanes. When it does it right, it stays within its lanes. It's not an advocacy commission, you're an advisory commission. And I think, in that role, you do a lot of, we now do a lot of good work. So I think I'm very excited to be part of this group and to be part of that good work. So thanks very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, welcome, Ed. With that, right? So that, and it's kind of a fun handoff that it's much more awkward on WebEx than in person, right? Where you're taking my seat on the commission. I was chair, and now we have the opportunity to vote on a new chair for the commission. So with that said, as the departing chair, is the commission okay with opening up, is someone on this call interested in taking the chair position, and are we able to vote on that as a commission today?
I actually had a related question.
Absolutely, Denise.
Can we also vote on the new secretary? And I guess Dan Firestone isn't here, but I know that he kind of mentioned too, like he was still vice chair because he wasn't there when we voted. I don't know if maybe it should be like new voting all around, but maybe we can't do all three.
Sure. Well, let's tackle, Denise, are you leaving the commission soon? I know Sandy's stepping out, and there's this, so if you're listening to this live, there's a spot open on the commission as well for Sandy Fry. So please inquire with the town of West Hartford if you'd like to join the commission as a member. And then Denise, I understand. So the secretary item, we could try vote on a new secretary today as well. I didn't put the agenda, so we might have to see if it works. And if not, the new chair can put that on the March meeting if that works for you, Denise.
That's fine.
Okay. Are you sure? Because you're a great, you do a great write-up. We had
Ooh,
Paul one day, and I don't know what that came in at, but
yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
much lighter than yours.
yeah, I think I'm not very on time with them, and I don't know if that,
Yeah.
would just continue to cause problems for the future
Okay.
chair.
Well, what I want to put out to anyone interested in the chair or secretary position is, if you decide to raise your hand for the position, it's more than rewarding. It's fantastic to work with the commission as well as the community and the town engineers. And I would absolutely dedicate time to teach you, whatever you want to learn of how the process works, where we have separate documents for the commission to look at quickly if you want to reference to something that we sent prior. Happy to help train either the new chair or the new secretary, because I was a secretary in a past role in the commission as well. But does anybody in the call want to volunteer to be chair?
I nominate Ken Livingston.
I actually declined the act. Thank you, but I
So, yeah,
have a variety of things going on, plus potential at times conflicts that I need to
yeah.
recuse
Does
myself.
anyone here have an interest in the chair position? Jill, Colin, Ed, Denise.
Nobody else, if nobody else is willing to take it on, I would. It wouldn't be my preference just joining the commission, but if you don't have any other options, I would be willing to take on that role. It wouldn't be my first choice, though.
Jill, you are on mute. You try
I'm
to say
sorry.
something.
I think that I didn't say anything, but I'm already chairing 18 psychologists, and I don't think I can take on a bicyclist. No, I really can't do it at this time, but I don't have to say that because Ed, you aren't really a newcomer. You've been at least involved as long as I have, which is 11 years, right? Yeah.
And I'd support you for the reason I don't support myself. Your depth of knowledge and integration into what we're trying to do, the tapestry of what we're trying to do is much richer than mine. And but when you brought your name up, it made me think of that. So I applaud your potential to be chair.
Here too, yes.
Yeah, I'd be totally open to that, Ed. If you're willing to do so, I'd certainly support nominating you to be the chair.
With that, Ed, I did reach out and see what the chair position. So you don't have to have time on the commission as be nominated for the chair. You could be brand new in the role. Welcome, Dan Firestone.
Finally.
You look great. Thanks for joining. So what you missed, Dan, and I'll catch you up, is Edward Pollock is now a member of the commission. So we welcomed Edward.
Welcome.
You may have met Edward before in the past, and so excited to have him here. And then we're looking to appoint a new chair to the commission. And Edward expressed interest. I don't want to, what's the game where you go around the chairs and you have to sit down before the song stops? But
Musical chairs.
Musical chairs. I think it's up to you guys of who you'd like to be chair. I would like to pass on that responsibility and also extend myself, who however much time you need to understand the process or questions you may have, I'll be full support, just not a voting member on the commission anymore.
Edward, I would also say that we'll lean in. If you are bold enough to say, I want to do it when you walked in the door, at least in in the state of being a member, but don't be afraid to ask of. Maybe it's not always volunteer, just ask of. Give me a call, give anybody on that call or an email and say, can you do this? So the lift isn't all on you nor on your back. So just feel that way.
Appreciate that. I've observed this commission, and I guess it goes back 11 years now. Many different iterations of the commission, but it's always been as the role of an outsider, or at least not a voting member. So I'm comfortable with the role that the commission has, and I think that's maybe the most important thing, is just to keep in mind what this commission's responsibility is, and what your lane is, and how to stay inside that lane. I would certainly need, some training, just with, assuming that chairmanship. But I do, maybe unlike most of you, I'm now almost retired. I still have a bit of a day job, but much less responsibility than most of you probably do. So I do have time to meet with town officials. I know them from my professional work with the town, that Todd Dumay, Dwayne Martin, and others. So, I'm already comfortable with them. So yeah, if you would, just accept me as, as it's a learning position, to be willing to work with me, I'd be happy to, kind of honored to, assume that role.
There's a lot of, you can't hear the energy, Ed. That's the hard part with WebEx, but I think everyone is excited. So if you could, would you, I guess, formally put up your hand for the chair position, if that's something you want to do, and then the commission, you can vote on it. I wouldn't be voting on it, so it'd just be Denise, Ken, Dan, Jill, Paul, and Colin.
I don't know if anyone made the motion to nominate, but I would second it. I feel like it was kind of made already, so I would second it and put it open to vote, and I would vote. Welcome aboard, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's
Daniel,
an excellent addition to the committee, and I think he'd do a fine job as chair.
a great job. Do you want to have a show of hands, Daniel? You can make a formal vote.
Denise, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Yeah, let's, if you could just state, so we'll start it this way just to make it nice and clean. So Ed Pollock is putting his nomination to chair the West Hartford Pedestrian Bicycle Commission on the February 7th, 2022 meeting. Would someone like to make a motion and second that motion? And if we can make sure we state our first and last name, and then we complete the vote that way.
Daniel Firestone, I'd like to make the motion that Ed Pollock be selected as chair.
And would someone like to second that motion?
Colin Gillespie, second that motion for Edward Pollock as chair.
And if you're in favor, state your name and your position, if you're in favor or against.
Jill Morosky
Firestone,
sitting.
in favor, member.
Colin Gillespie in favor, committee member as well, commission member.
Denise Gutierrez, commission member, in favor.
Yeah, Paul Hogan, I support the nomination of Ed.
Ken Livingston, I support the nomination of Ed Pollock, commission member.
All right. Welcome to your new role, Ed.
Thanks, I think.
Congratulations. I'm not going to do exactly what Sandy did to me, where she just said, "All right, the meeting's yours."
Thank you. Thank you.
But that was my introduction. You know, as a commission, you know, I want to just thank everyone for letting me be part of the commission for so long and chairing the commission for the 2021 year. Again, it was an honor, and I learned so much from this group, town engineers, and residents who provided so much input and feedback. So I think we had a phenomenal year, and we wrapped that up with a letter to the town in December. So thank you, everyone. And what's next on the agenda? And feel free to take it where you'd like. Go ahead, Jill.
I think all of us would like to thank you for your incredible work, not just incredible work under normal circumstances, but gathering us together through COVID. And your relationship with the town has been just extraordinary. I think you've really forwarded our commission. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Daniel.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that. You're welcome. Thanks for the double hands, David. So what's next on the agenda is pretty light, Ed. I'm not sure how you want to take it, but it's to look at what the commission was going to work on for the calendar year 2022, and it's a brainstorm session. So the meetings usually go till 8:39. We started late. It depends on what you want to tackle, and I'd be happy to open up a spreadsheet and help the commission work through things visually if that would help. But what does the commission want to focus on 2022? To give you some insight where we left off on to-do items was discussion of a possible survey again in 2022, how people feel about the town. We issued a survey that we did in 2021. We had 1,000 respondents on that. Traffic calming, the traffic calming program, as well as we've had some, haven't made enough headway at the Board of Education for a 4th grade ed bike program. And something that was on the horizon coming to 2023 might be Farmington Avenue. So those are just some things we rolled out of 2021 with. And then the discussion of bringing in select town members to meetings and seeing, having a presence at every meeting or every other meeting, whether it's town council. Engineers will be in our March meeting, so that could be an engineering focused meeting, and layering in those different pieces, whether it be police, they're open to join. That's how we left in 2021. They came to one meeting, they're up to come to another one, and what would happen in those meetings. So really just this meeting was designed to be open and say, what are we going to focus on? What's the commission going to focus on? What's realistic? What's obtainable, but making sure it keeps an impact, and not forget North Main Street, which is going to close out this year so far as the trial period. And that leaves the window for both ways. The survey looked good. Want to keep momentum, if not accelerate momentum coming out of the gate for North Main Street as well.
I'd just like to talk about something that it's about this proactive nature, the idea of Trout Brook and then Main Street and then the center. That's such a great conversation. And there's also the integration of some other development that's going on at that intersection. And then it got us talking about how it's the worst intersection around. And so to me, I don't know maybe that one's one, but to me, what are the ID'd 3 areas of access and safety that are next? Because I think this is a advisory group, but maybe there's a way we can bring our data from the survey and otherwise to advise on such things. Like it's what's the next of the Main Street road diet.
If assuming the North Main Street road diet is approved, are you suggesting what would be the next big project, perhaps the next road diet in town? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it could be road diet, or it could be whatever garners access and safety in a way that hits with our mission. So what I'm saying is I don't know what that is yet, but if we said, are there two to be ID'd that we could somehow move the needle on, for example?
Oh, I think that's an excellent idea. I want to warn us not to get into ideals like another off-path roadway, or, I mean, I've been just reading a lot of bike reports, different cities around the country, Savannah, whatever, and they have these elaborate plans of all these routes that, so they work all this time making these plans, and of course, there's neither money or political push to do them. So I just want to recommend that we return to something the town has endorsed, and that's our transportation map for cycling, that be one of them. We created routes, and that we go back to the town and say, okay, let's see the progress we've made, and let's push on some of the main routes that connect. I mean, this is something, this is one of our ideas as a plan, but I think it's too easy, like the schools and bikes, we just drop them. I think we should go back and make sure we have safe routes through town. Right? That's my 2 cents.
I agree, Jill. That map that we put together, that of the bicycle facilities map, that's quite a few years old now. I made a list of some things that I was hoping the commission might be able to accomplish this year, and that was one of them. Was to revisit that map and to to see if the aspirations that we had back quite a few years ago, whether we want to update them and whether we want to maybe ask for more than we did back then. I think that's a terrific project to take on.
Daniel seems to have dropped off. There he is.
All right. Sorry, but can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to leave you, Ed. That was not intentional. Can you see my notes on this page here?
Yep. It's tiny, but yes.
Small, yeah.
How about, is that better? Still small?
Still small.
Let's see. That is so complicated. Up.
Might simply be font size.
How about that better?
There you go.
Okay. I was trying to just help you out and kind of take down some of the talking points. Jill, I dropped off, sorry, at transportation map for cycling. Dan, did you say something else?
I said you disappeared for a few moments.
If I could talk as a resident.
Yes.
So the Wall Street Journal today actually had an article about reducing traffic speed. And I know 2021, there was some transportation policies to, that gives the town more flexibility in reducing the speed limits, the posted speed limits. I'd like to see some of the speed limits within town maybe drop down 5 miles per hour in however the commission may select. But I think there's enough support across the country for reducing traffic speeds. And I think it's a good opportunity to take a look at what we have for posted speed limits and bringing those down.
Yeah. Which brings to mind, Daniel, the survey, because such emphasis in the survey that to raise use and demand and comfort is all about safety.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think if you can do the survey again as one of the, either reference it or do another or update it, because it'll certainly back up a speed limit reduction.
So, I'll at this, it's up to the commission, but I know there's a couple people from the public on the line as well. And maybe and Ed, this is we'll talk about this, but it's really hard on WebEx to make sure to give that time for open up for public comment and resident feedback. So it's up to you, but usually I've had to learn to really bake it into the WebEx of, if anyone on the line from the public wants to make any comments or suggestions for the commission for 2022, they can do that.
I agree. That's really important to get the public input.
You just got a comment from David Beers, I think.
Yes, and you can actually unmute too by hitting *6.
Jay just wanted to comment. Seeing these pop up.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jay Stange, 177 Auburn Road. A couple quick things. Daniel Johnson, I want to say thank you so much to you for all of your hard work and commitment to the Ped Bike Commission. In the time that I've lived here, I've seen a lot of great dedication from you, and I really want to thank you so much for your service and wish you the best with your 2 under 2 at home. Hope they have amazing adventures, and thank you so much for everything. I look forward to joining you and the kids on a fun ride sometime soon.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jay.
Ed, welcome, and thank you so much for volunteering to be the chair. My understanding is that you have a history with Bike West Hartford organizing Center Streets, and I'm so glad that you stepped up to do this. Thank you very much. I was just going to make a couple quick comments about where I see priorities. I love that this commission has taken an interest in doing some connections that are related to the wonderful amenity at the Trout Brook Trail, the new development at 920 Farmington, and possible tie-ins to North Main. I firmly believe that North Main is going to be a successful road diet, and that in the coming years, I think the public is going to see an amazing opportunity in creating protected bike lanes on North Main. And I feel like that's the next step for that project ultimately. And I would really hope that we could maintain a good communication strategy with the town as we go through this transition away from Matt Hart, in order to make sure that the 2 routes that this commission has selected as its primary north-south and east-west routes, which would be Farmington and North Main, are 2 routes that we could work to provide additional amenities and additional protection for non-motorized travelers. I think that if we could create basically an X or a T or a cross, or however you want to look at it, of infrastructure that is protected, and I really do firmly believe that Farmington and North Main are the 2 first best investments that we should make in West Hartford for non-motorized infrastructure. I think if we could build that basic skeleton or cross or a T that we could hang the remaining infrastructure on in the town, it would really move us a lot forward. And so I want to thank everybody for all their work and let you know that I stand by as an advocate outside the process of this commission to make sure that town councilors and the public understand that there is a strong and cooperative constituency out there to support these 2 routes that I'm talking about, east-west Farmington and north-south North Main. Thanks everybody for the time, and thank you very much for your service. I look forward to participating and listening in here in 2022.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks very much.
This is Ethan Frankel. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Ed and thank Daniel as well. Daniel, you've grown into this job so well, and you've done a great job, and it's much appreciated. And I know that Ed is going to be the logical, he's the perfect person to move this forward. And thank you, Ed, for stepping forward and being willing to do that. And then I just wanted to really just agree with what Jay said, and everything that he said is exactly the way I feel about the way things should sort of move forward. And just keep up the good work. And thank you, Ed, very much. Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Ethan. Daniel, I'd like to add one more goal, if I could, kind of aspiration to this brainstorming.
Yeah, this is brainstorming, so
yeah,
no bad idea unless it's less bike lanes and unsafer sidewalks.
So I brought this topic to the commission last year, and I guess to my frustration, I don't feel like I was able to convince the commission of the merit of this, of what I was proposing. But I'd like to try again this year. It's a new year. You may recall that I made the point that it's really surprising to me that a commission that's whose charge is to advise the town on issues related to safety and accessibility for pedestrians and cyclists doesn't have a report, doesn't receive a report at a minimum at the end of each year on where and how crashes occurred in town involving cyclists and pedestrians. As far as I know, we have no document or no data set that shows the number of pedestrian or cyclist accidents per year, whether the trend is going up, whether it's going down, whether these are occurring at repeat locations. I don't know that the commission has a good handle on that, and I think that's really important data for this commission to have. I know that there was a suggestion from one of the commissioners to me that, well, you can get it from the crash repository, and that's probably true, but as far as I know, I've not read any document from this commission that says, well, here's what the trend is. Here's how many accidents there were last year. Here's where they occurred. Here's a map of it. So I really would like to see this commission look to that empirical data, and whether we generate it ourselves from the crash repository, or whether we obtain that data perhaps from the police department, whether we get it on an annual basis, whether we get it on a quarterly basis. I think we have to have our finger on the pulse. And if we're seeing, if there are particular areas in town where these accidents are occurring repeatedly, well, we really need to be speaking to the town about that. So I will make the case again that this is a project that I'd like to see this commission take up this year.
I'm not sure, Ken, Dan, Paul, and Denise, I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything for 2022. I might have missed it, so that's why I'm asking.
The area I think we need to continue to figure out is the partnership and our role within the town as a whole, whether it's a better or more direct relationship with planning and zoning or town council and awareness, because I do feel as one part of it is where sort of, waving the flag in the wind, and maybe people are listening, maybe people aren't, or are seeing us. And I know we've had monthly meetings with Dwayne and Todd at times, but I still think we got to figure out how we can play a role in actually being integrated into the rest of the town process. So we're not just screaming from the, the mountaintops and hoping people listen. So I'm not sure the best way of us doing that. We've had, meetings with Todd and Dwayne, and Dwayne has done a great job of listening, but I'm not sure it's moved beyond that to the decision makers, people leading decisions within the town.
Yeah, I guess Ken, you make kind of a good point. One thing I've been thinking of is the number of developments that are slated to occur in West Hartford near term. There's going to be quite a few, an influx of quite a few new developments, and what that's going to mean for the future of mobility in town. I think, the point being that perhaps being integrated into that process earlier with planning could be beneficial, because looks like a lot's going to be happening here.
I think that's its own point. We've got becoming more integrated into the town process, less reactionary to town decisions, but there's something to be with a year of such development, or there's something about the fact that every time you turn around, there's a large scale commercial or residential development, and this year could be huge. How do we become involved with that?
Well, recall that, the complete streets policy, which was adopted by the town some years ago, requires the town to go through a complete streets analysis every time that there's, a new project that may affect positively or negatively pedestrian and bicycle access. So, and if they don't adopt complete streets recommendations, they have to, provide a justification for that. So, we can fall back on that. That's the that's the kind of the stick that we have. It's not a carrot, but a stick, that the town agreed that this is something that they aspire to.
It could be a stick, but if you recall several recent developments, we find out so late, the plans are so far along, they waive complete streets. I can't even remember a plan in which they didn't have a waiver for complete streets, a big plan. So, I think there's something we need to do working with town officials to actually, for a while, we had someone appointed to the town and zoning, to go to all the meetings, but even that's too late. And Dwayne's been very good about giving us heads up on street repaving, like sometimes up to a year ahead. But he is the only one that sort of let us in on planning at any enough time to do anything, right? We have to figure out a way to persuade some of the management in town hall that we need information earlier. We need to be participating in this before it happens like this last week, where we find out too late to influence a planning and zoning decision, right?
Jill, I thought you were going to go the other way and say it's not a stick, it's an amazing carrot. So
no, it's not, because they just wave it. They just hang it away.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, how do we convince them that it is a carrot? Every one of these developments would be so much better, so much amazingly better for the town, for the development itself, for new people to live and work in those new developments, if they were thinking about how people walk and cycle to them. It's more of a statement.
Yeah, I agree.
On the 10-year plan for the POCD, the commission sent a letter requesting a consultant the town to budget for a consultant to research some of the items, one of them being high traffic corridors. But there's another item in the POCD that relates to commercial zoning for pedestrian and bicycle commission, and either Todd Dumay or I believe it was Todd, did ask that the commission, this was November, December last year, assist in that process for how the town looks at commercial plan and zoning for new development. So that window is there, and the invitation is there. That's Daniel as a resident, former commission member. All right. And I don't know if anyone else is watching the chat like me, but Steve Adler would like to. Is that you, Steve? Would like to just jump in the conversation. I'm not sure, *6, Steve, or if now's the time that you wanted. Okay. I'm gonna put. Oh, you want me to put planning and zoning on this, Ed, and commission? Just planning and zoning. I guess. Planning and zoning.
Coordination.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Coordination. Steven, we can hear you.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Sorry about that. Hey, first of all, I just want to thank you folks for having such a great group here in committee. This is so important to the town, and not only the passion that we all have for biking, but your time commitment here. So I personally want to thank you, and I'm on your distribution, but I just don't get a chance to get to these meetings. A couple of things. One is, does this group have kind of a liaison to the the town planning and to just to the town government? I mean, is there a liaison, or are there assignments from this group to certain areas such as TP&Z and engineering and so forth? Number one. And then number two, and this is kind of to the comment about how do we get the agenda, the biking agenda, in front of the council. Once you determine what your path is for this year, or what is your 2 or 3 year path, or even just 1 year, just ask, if you can take time each quarter just to provide an update, and then ask the council maybe to weigh in on some of the pressing issues that you're having, whether it's smart streets or things like that. So, and there is an open forum, I'm sure that's dedicated to various topics. So you may want to, I'm sure you're already thinking about this. You folks are a lot smarter than me on this stuff. So, something to think about.
Those are great ideas. We did for a while have liaisons, I'm not sure, to different town offices. I'm not sure what happened, but we should put that on our decision-making tree to see if we want to reintroduce that. And we've also talked about giving, presentations to town council more regularly, which is probably not a bad idea either. Thank you for those ideas.
Yeah, and I think it's they need to understand your agenda, and to seek to understand before being understood. And I think I would imagine they would be open for a few minutes each quarter, just to kind of talk about some of the projects you're working on, and even some of the pain points, and what the specific ask would be from the council. So, but I think this is a great group you have here. So thank you.
Jill, I played that role back before Sandy Fry became the chair. I would reach out monthly to Todd Dumay to find out what new business was coming up on the town council agenda. Those were new projects, new applications that they were just receiving. So and I think that worked quite well. That was our connection to the to the town receiving new ideas from developers. And I don't know what's happened with that liaison role, if it's kind of fallen to the wayside. I certainly would like to see that reestablished. I think that gave us a good, we were caught less by surprise when applications came to us and we had to respond very quickly, or maybe didn't even have any time at all. I think we really, if we're going to be an advisory board to the town, we need to know in a very timely manner when that the town council and the engineering department and so on are receiving plans. We need to receive them at the same time, to be reviewing them at the same time the town is.
I agree. I also think this is a great moment, a new chair, not because our former chair was fantastic, but change of chairs allows people to set new agendas and new kind of vision. And I'm wondering if maybe and there's a new town manager, that there might be a chair of the Bike Ped Commission with the town manager more than once quarterly, but at least once quarterly. A one-to-one where you can hear from him or her. It's usually him. It's West Hartford, excuse me. Where you can hear for him. And, I think it would be a great moment to revitalize the liaison, but also to invite a more direct connection to the council. And you can't get any more direct than the town manager.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I would advocate that's the connection we don't have. Todd and Dwayne have been great with meeting monthly with Daniel and or Sandy or others, but it's those that are in the decisions, and Todd can give advice and give suggestions, but they're making the decisions at the planning and zoning, and same thing at the council. We need to have a liaison to those boards themselves, not to town staff. No offense to town staff, but that's where the linkage is broken.
Mm-hmm.
I broached this at the last meeting, and that is that we've got to invite the town council members to our meetings.
Yes, good idea. I think Ben came once. And someone else came
Sherry
on.
Cantor did.
Sherry came several times, and this is Dan Firestone. Sherry came several times. Ben came several times. And Ben's a bicycle rider. He rides his bicycle everywhere.
In the same way that we invite, town staff, the town engineer, police, and so on. I think it's a great idea to invite, perhaps on a quarterly basis, as many town councilors as want to attend our meetings to hear us and to voice their opinions.
There was Dan Firestone again. There was an article in the West Hartford paper the other day about this new buildings on Arlington Avenue, where I used to have an office years back. And they made reference to bicycle facilities in the East Coast Greenway, or the Chalkbrook Greenway, I'm sorry, and having bicycle racks. So at our last meeting, we touched upon contacting them about just that. And I don't know whether we actually did, but apparently it has taken hold.
Yeah, as Ken pointed out, I read the same article. Apparently the town council did approve that application, which seems like in record time. But having said that, I think as somebody pointed out, it's not too late to send that letter out to the town, but as well, I would argue to the developer now. Last month, I think the commission said, well, it makes sense to send it to the town, but now that it's been approved, to both the town and the developer, to get them in the conversation, because since they now have a permit, they may not need any more from the town, but to point out to them the benefits to their the folks who are going to be living in those buildings of having access, safe access to that Trout Brook Trail. That could be a real amenity that they would want to take advantage of. And I don't know it. It may be in the plans or may not. I don't know, but we need to find that out.
Dan Firestone again. Another thing we talked about at the last meeting was a request to have them, and I don't know if they can do this, but it doesn't hurt to ask, if we can have them extend the trail up to North Main Street.
Right. Somebody brought that up. One of the members of the public brought that up as maybe a criticism of the North Main Street road diet, that it doesn't connect both north and south. It doesn't connect to Bishop's Corner. It doesn't connect down to the center. It falls short in both cases. So I would argue, in our ongoing discussions with the town about the road diet, that be included. The road diet trial doesn't meet those points, but perhaps in a final iteration, we could suggest that it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because on the subject of the North Main Street road diet, time I think will be getting short. If I think April was mentioned as public meetings. There was a lot of discussion at the last meeting, a lot of good discussion, mostly from the public, regarding the two-way center turning lane and the dimensions of it. And somebody pointed out, and I agreed with them, that it's not so much education, but the design of roadways that influences motorist behavior. And there was there was suggestions from the public or requests that the width of that two-way center turning lane be reduced to discourage motorists from using it as a passing lane. I'd like to see this commission continue that discussion with the town. I think there's a good argument to be made. I agree with that member of the public last month who said that road design is what influences behavior. And I'd like the commission to discuss at the next meeting and bring if they agree, to bring a recommendation of reducing that center turning lane with that goal in mind.
Just as a resident, if I could, I would expect the North Main Street road diet momentum to leap to Trout Brook Trail as a next discussion, because there was a number of residents on Trout Brook Drive that also wanted the road diet trial, depending on the outcome of it. So maybe something to look at, seeing how traffic counts have changed with now North Main Street. Did they really move all of it to Trout Brook Trail, or did it just slow the speed of traffic and give a little bit longer queuing? And is it considerable to do that to Trout Brook Drive?
Good point.
Sorry, just to reiterate, it looks like, that prior communication piece, I think, was brought up earlier. Who's Stephen Adler, who's the town liaison. So prior, we had Matt Hart, and Matt Hart directed. We work with Dwayne Martin. As we know, this year, Matt Hart is now with CROG, and Dwayne Martin is now community development. So the point of taking on new liaison routes is definitely there and open for opportunity. Keep hitting video instead of mute. Apologize. And it looks like Jill had a drop.
Does anybody else have any other goals or aspirations or projects they'd like to see the commission take on this year?
Um,
Yeah, can you hear me again?
Yeah. Who is it?
Yeah, this is Steve again, Steve Adler. One of the things that, we really need to get a handle on is Bishop's Corner. And one of the things that I think really would be a worthwhile discussion, and you're also dealing with landlords there, so it's a bit of a challenge, is right onlys out of the parking lot, and to force changing of behaviors by vehicles using the service roads. And I really think we really need to kind of think about that, because probably even even Staples has the light there, but with the Crown and with Big Y, you've got those service roads where you've got lock stock, you've got the Walgreens, you got the service road. The big problem is vehicles coming out of the main entrances of these lots, cutting across to taking a left, is really problematic. And I'm sure we've all biked through there, and it's you're taking your life in your own hands. I think if we can maybe kind of get that in front of the council, or at least discuss a strategy about how we would do that. I'm not exactly sure what the zoning pain point would be, but it would be safer even for cars too,
So Steve, you're suggesting that we talk to the town about shutting down left turn lanes out of those large parking lots, and instead having folks make that, say, south or northbound turn by way of a signal controlled intersection light from those roads behind those developments?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, it's we all here are pragmatic, so we can visualize that. But think about it. If you're coming out of, say, Lockstock, or if you're coming out of Marshall's, you'll see a sign that would say no left turn. It would only allow you to take a right turn. But if the challenge here would be educating the riding public as to using those service roads. But yes, yeah, you got it right. Yep.
I would take that one step further and suggest, request that the town look at that whole Bishop's Corner area holistically. Even with that, with what you're suggesting, which I think is a good idea. It's really it's a desert zone for cyclists, and for pedestrians in some areas it can be really challenging. It's a really tough barrier to cross for cyclists who may get up the North Main Street Road diet, but then it ends, and then what do? You really are stuck trying to get it further north. So I think more work needs to be done, as particularly at that intersection, if there's any possibility to make that more accessible for cyclists.
I mean, if we did some studies, in relation to the geospan of the area, how many people reside within that area, and just really kind of put this group's thoughts together about what would be those talking points, and bring some other folks in. But yeah, I mean, it should be pretty straightforward, but clearly, it's never easy. So that would be a big win for everybody, including drivers. Although they'd be a little annoyed that they'd have to wait at the light to turn left, but start biking.
Daniel, you still there?
Yeah, I'm holding back the cries in the background, and it's not me crying, but yeah, I'm still here.
So where do we go from here, Daniel?
Well, this one's an open meeting, so you could prioritize a few, or share this list with the commission and, clean it up, right? I was just trying to write general different talking points or different items. The year goes by quick, and it's as a past chair, it's very hard to get a lot of things done, and you're not including on this list anything that pops up in between. Last year we had the neighborhood traffic calming program that popped up, and a couple other things that wrench things into place. So I think having that liaison and getting the early read on items before they happen is going to be paramount for the year. And then as a commission, whatever you guys decide to really focus in on, because each thing takes time, and each item takes different bits of research and follow up. So you could do that now, or kind of leave it as a brainstorm. Really up to you on how you want to take the next step. One thing not on here that we had in 2021 that we didn't get any traction on was the bicycle education in the 4th grade, the Board of Ed. Another one was the bicycle safety playground where families or kids or people visiting a park can learn how to ride on a mock street. So those are just examples of things that spill over, and it's hard to really put that punch where it belongs. And that's just something to consider with this list for 2022.
Daniel, I think I would suggest, we've already blown past 8:30. It's already getting to 8:45, and
Yep.
I don't see a point in asking, all of us to, now get in discussion of prioritizing. But I think perhaps Daniel, if you could compile that list that you've got there, or maybe just kind of clean it up a bit. If you could send that to me, I could then send it to the commissioners and ask them to prioritize maybe, their top 3 that they would like to see taken on. And then we could use those results. I could compile those results. We can use that as a starting point for our next, our meeting in March.
Sure, I'll do that.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed, we'll set up some time just to show you the ropes, give you the stack of stuff in my filing cabinet, and help you transition to the role.
Appreciate it, Daniel, and appreciate everybody, all of you folks who've put in so much effort and time with this commission. Look forward to working very, very much with you this coming year. So thanks very much again.
Thanks for stepping forward.
Do we, do we have somebody who make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion. There you go, Dan.
Second?
Second.
All right. Thanks, folks. See you next month.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Dan.